He wrote the book on how to master LinkedIn, and now he's launching a platform to help startups, creators, those who don't have the bucks to hire a PR agency, land media coverage. He's Don McLean, and he's back for a second go round here on Tales from the Beat. Welcome, everyone, to episode 143. I'm Ed Garsten, your host, concierge, disobedient servant, and we are so glad to have Don back here. Welcome back, Don. You've been a busy guy.
Thank you, Ed. Yeah, no, it's been a busy time. I appreciate you having me on.
You bet, you bet. Why don't we just start with I mentioned the book at the top,
Yeah,
just to catch you, because that's the last time we spoke is when you
absolutely.
launched the book. It was a little over a year ago. Uh, how has it been with the book?
Oh, the book's been going great. I've spoken at so many places across the country and even spoken Ireland, which was just incredible.
Yeah,
I got to take it to South by Southwest and even do a
yeah,
book signing, which was beyond my wildest dreams.
yeah,
It's been really nice. To be able to talk about that and to help people, grow their
yeah,
careers. I think with one of the reasons why I wrote the book is so many people just, they look at LinkedIn as just, I'll fire it up once every 2 years when
right.
they need a new job.
Yeah,
And my point is more look at it from the expanse of your career, look at it across to everything. So, yeah, but yeah, it's been about a year now and
wow,
it's going well.
yeah.
One of the things that I'm transitioning to as well is doing these LinkedIn live sessions, basically, where
Oh,
people
okay.
come in,
Yeah,
they'll join me at the beginning of,
okay.
with wherever their profile sits.
Yeah,
And by the time they come out, they'll have, an updated plan for their profile.
right.
They'll have,
Wow,
completely rewritten. They'll have new headshots,
really?
just and a content plan, everything that it takes
Wow.
to make it go right. So, it's going that's going pretty well.
Yeah,
It's a long session, but
really.
it's
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Might have to book one of those. I'm
I'd
not
love
looking
to have
for
you out.
yeah, I'm not looking for a job. Really.
Well, yeah, it's not even for a job, again, it's just
Yeah.
like thought leadership and it's
Yeah.
it's beyond that. So I was even talking to the fine people at Hero yesterday about
Uh-huh.
just you know, from a PR side, using LinkedIn to support all the PR efforts. And
Hmm.
it was a really, really great in-depth conversation. So
Yeah, I mean, not to dwell on it, but it seems like I'm thinking when I first joined LinkedIn, oh my
yeah,
God, I don't know, many years ago.
yeah.
Um,
15 years ago, I started in 2009 on that platform. So
Yeah, yeah, I think it was about then, or,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, it was just a networking. It's very businesslike, and
right.
it seems like the scope of it has grown. Some people don't like it. There's people
Yeah,
are using it like a Facebook or something like that.
yeah.
But I'm just curious now. I mean, how has its function grown? And to that matter, how can people use that broadening function of LinkedIn to further their career or just sort of broaden their backgrounds?
Yeah, this is a great question. I mean, I focus a lot on CEOs and C-suite folks with LinkedIn, and one of the things that I look at specifically is just making sure they show up in the proper way. I
Mm,
think um, with LinkedIn specifically, there is. Let me back up for a second.
mhm.
Twitter was one of those things that everybody used to go to.
Yeah.
It was specifically thought leadership, CEOs, people that just wanted to grow their networks. They would
Yeah.
go there and sort of create a community. And not too long ago, I had a bunch of my clients come to me at pretty much the same time within a month or two. And they all said, we want to leave X.com. We don't want to be there anymore.
Okay.
And just because of
Yeah.
various things and
Mm,
political affiliations and whatnot,
sure. Yeah.
makes sense from a brand perspective.
Yeah.
But the place people have gone is to LinkedIn, and people are sort of using that more like they used to use Twitter,
Yeah.
and so. LinkedIn's, it's still sort of having a renaissance in that way, where it's, more people are coming there and looking to
Sure.
build their professional platform, if you will.
Mm.
Because Facebook's not the place to really do it from a professional side.
Right.
Some people are using it for TikTok, but that's more of like a consumer side.
Yeah.
But if you're deep in whatever industry you're in, say
Hmm.
life sciences, which I work in a ton,
Yeah.
what other platform do you have to go to? You know,
Right.
there's
It's
there's
true.
not really another answer.
Yeah.
Twitter was the one, you
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
and it's not. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just interesting to see how all these platforms have sort of changed their
right.
function and personality.
Oh
But
yeah,
let's move on to this new platform that you're launching, Press Hustle. I was
yeah.
reading a little bit about it. It's pretty fascinating. Please
Oh,
explain.
thanks, Ed.
You bet.
Yeah, yeah. I announced it initially at South by Southwest. We're working on just finishing up the development right now of it, but basically, it's a way to democratize PR for everyone.
Mm,
One of the things that, and somebody will say, well, why do you have a PR agency and you want to make PR available,
right.
PR available at such a low cost? I think I started looking at all of the entrepreneurs, and you might experience this in your own way,
Hmm.
different paths as well.
Yeah.
But I would go and to a networking event and talk to someone. They're like, "Oh, but we don't have any money,"
Hmm.
and so it was kind of like a way for people to say, don't ask, don't ask me,
Right.
to be pitched or anything like that.
Yeah.
But what I ended up realizing is, if I sort of correlate that with the stat that, 90% of small businesses fail within the first year, I
Hmm.
started thinking, well, if some of those businesses did PR,
Yeah.
uh, even in the smallest way,
Okay.
how much would that change that statistic? You know,
Mm,
and if you really look at like the salt of the earth entrepreneurs, the people that want to get their hands dirty and do everything,
yeah.
they're not worried about whatever it is they have to do. And
Okay.
so this platform is, it's part AI to help build, their press,
Yes.
but it's also based on, my templates, and I have training modules within as well.
Wow.
So they'll be trained on PR. They'll get a media list specific to their industry that I'll pull for them.
Wow.
But then they'll be able to use the AI tool to build their press. And then they have a hosted media kit. So it'd be presshustle.com slash whatever the company is, slash tales
Okay.
from the beat,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um, it's really an end-to-end platform that I haven't seen yet. And I had sort of been brainstorming
Awesome.
this for a few years.
Yeah.
And one of my developer friends, she said, I can build that. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we came up with a contract, and and I mapped it all out and gave it to her, and it's been an incredible experience. And
That's awesome.
it
Yeah.
yeah, and
So,
again, it's one of those things where people will bootstrap it. They'll
yeah,
bootstrap it as much as they can, but all of
sure.
the entrepreneurs I work with,
Yeah.
they barely have time for me to, even talk to them once a week, so
Right. Yeah.
there is a point when you're growing your business where you do need a PR agency. But this is for all the companies that can't afford it, that are,
Right.
again, trying to build up themselves. So,
Sure. So,
yeah.
a few questions about, first of all, how does it
Sure.
work? Is it a subscription or just how does that part work if somebody wants to use the platform?
Yeah, it's going to be a subscription model. So it's going to be, a monthly cost, and it's going to be under $100 a month. So it's really
Oh,
attainable for
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
I didn't want to make it too expensive or
Yeah.
too inexpensive. So
Yes.
it's going to be somewhere between $50 and $100 a month. I need to finalize the pricing as we finalize the platform. But
Sure.
um, even from a media kit standpoint, I mean, just having that hosted and having somewhere to point journalists to is
Yeah.
will be so helpful for these
Yeah.
brands.
You said something interesting
Yeah,
a moment ago where you said where there's a point where you do need a PR agency, and I'm just wondering where does that line of demarcation land, so you know whether you're sort of going to have to cross the Rubicon or not.
Yeah. You know, that has yet to be defined.
Yeah.
But I think, I think it depends likely on revenue. There's probably a revenue point where,
Mhm.
you know, where there's a tipping point there. I think it's also likely how many people, and this correlates with revenue, but how many people end up working at that company.
Yes.
There's a lot of solopreneurs, there's a lot of creators,
Hmm.
there's just a lot of people doing good. I mean, even, charitable organizations that
Yeah.
have very few funds. Um, one of the things, one of my colleagues, Mary Beth Halperin, who's, really well
Yeah.
known in this
Yeah.
space locally here, she's
She
been
was my
doing
first
some,
boss at Chrysler. Yes.
yes,
I know her. She's wonderful. Yep.
that's amazing. Mary Beth's amazing,
Yeah.
and she works on my team at McLean Media now, and
Yes.
we're doing some great things together. And she was helping me do some amazing in-depth research. And one of the things um, one of the things that came out is in terms of entrepreneurial education,
Yeah.
PR doesn't really come up, you
Oh,
know? And
really?
so if you think about all the things that you need to do, and I've learned this, a little bit the hard way when starting my business, is like
Yeah.
I'm not only the president of the company, but I have to do all the accounting. I have to do our
Yeah.
own company's PR.
Right.
I have to be HR, and all
Hmm.
of those things. But and they teach you certain things about promotion, but they don't teach you, the tried and true PR skills
Right.
that you need. And again, I feel like there is that's a significant gap for entrepreneurs today.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, Don, because um, I'll often, I get a million pitches a
Yeah,
day,
I'll bet.
and they're not good. They're not, I mean, they're not good.
I
And
understand.
they're not telling me that they're newsworthy, or they're just poorly written. And so I'll always go to my wife and go,
Yes,
"What are these? Are people learning anything in PR school? If they take
I hear
PR
you.
in college and stuff. I mean, it doesn't seem like they're learning to write or to understand the news process, or what actually makes news in constructing the pitches. And so I don't want to get too off the topic, but I mean, do you see it just something you said just sort of struck me about that. Is that education not really there? Is it not sufficient? Are people not learning the right things when they're either going to school or training to be PR people?
You know, I don't have too much insight into that. I am
Yeah,
an adjunct professor at Medina University, and so I
yeah.
teach marketing over there, like intro to
Okay.
marketing. And right now I'm
Yeah.
working with Haiti students, or students in
Mhm.
Haiti,
Yeah.
rather, and as part of their outreach program, and that's been incredible. There is a balance in, how much AI that they should be using. And,
Hmm.
I do make sure, and the department makes sure we quiz them in certain ways that is
Yes.
helping them grow. I think
Hmm.
what I was talking about is more for the people that just didn't have that education, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
But I hear you, and I have so much empathy for journalists and
Hmm.
folks like you, Ed, because I going back to LinkedIn for a second, I see all of the things on LinkedIn that are just ChatGPT generated,
Hmm.
and it's easy to notice. And I can only imagine what your inbox looks like in terms
Yeah.
of these pitches. And,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
another thing that has sort of come up is like going back
Yeah.
to Press Hustle for a second.
Yeah.
I've hand built these templates and
Okay.
I'm prompting them with the right questions that
Hmm.
helps them build something that's more valuable than
Yeah.
just, hey, I'm launching this thing, write me a press release,
Mm.
which so many people, sort of default to. So,
Right.
and I've even noticed it with looking at some of the wire services and things like
Sure.
that. You can tell that some of them are just not worthy of being picked up,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't want to contribute to that. I want to
Sure.
make it really valuable. So,
It's a great segue to a broader discussion I want to have with you about
okay.
the use of AI, because
Okay.
it's in everyone's mind. I mean, it's
Right.
just become this monster. It's funny when I'm writing one of my freelance pieces for Forbes, our back end now. Actually, while
Mm.
you're writing, this is it's spooky. While you're
Wow.
writing the story, a thing pops up and says, "We're generating an AI summary of your story," and
Oh my goodness.
yeah, and I mean you can edit it if it's not
Sure.
accurate, but I could change two words while I'm writing the story, and it says, "Do you want me to update your summary?" I'm going, "This is too weird." Um, I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
It's
Yeah.
very very spooky. But the question, Don, is who are we writing for now? Are we writing to be found through AI queries, or are we writing for people like we used to write for?
Mm. That is a great question. I still write for people. I don't I try not to think about that. I think authenticity is something that there is going to be an authenticity break at some point where people are just going to crave it because again, I
Yeah,
look at my sometimes I get tired of looking at my feeds because I'm like, okay, I can tell this was written by ChatGPT or whatever,
right.
Claude or whatever it is. And it's I mean, it's getting pretty bad to the point where, you know, people
Yeah,
are using that for like heartfelt thank yous. And it's like,
yeah,
well, you didn't write that. I can tell
yeah.
you didn't write that and you should have,
Right.
And so it's almost damaging, I feel like, for people's credibility when something doesn't come out genuine. So
Yeah,
um, we'll see that happen. I think we're starting to see that happen a little bit with some
yes,
folks. I've talked to a few, chief technology officers and things like that that are just saying that, there's a lot of people are just tired. They're tired of seeing, these
yeah,
inauthentic pieces. So, and yeah, I have some clients that say we have these blog articles and do these things just to feed the algorithms and just to
yeah.
feed search and things like that. Um, I will say one of the things I like about AI is PR is
Mhm.
sort of having that renaissance right now, where it's like
Yeah,
the people had thought, oh well, PR is going the way of the dodo or something like
yeah,
that. But
right.
it's now knowing, I think Muckrack did a report maybe about a year ago or something like that now where
Mhm.
they're talking about how these AI engines are fed
Yeah,
by media stories and PR
yes.
stories and I'm noticing that with my clients too where
Are you
you
okay?
know the Google previews or I forget what they call it right now but
Yeah,
what pops up in Google from AI, it's
right.
pulling directly from the press releases I've written. And
Yeah,
so I personally love to see that because it
yeah,
helps me write more effective, more in-depth press releases.
yeah.
So,
Well, I find those actually sort of helpful.
okay. Yeah,
But as a journalist, I would never use, honestly, I would never use any information from that summary. I would use it as a point of
understood.
departure to find the source. Where did it come from? And then find it
Right.
from there. And then I can sort of triangulate it to make sure it's accurate. But I know there's a bit of a controversy of the AI scrubbing the web and frankly, I mean copyrighted stuff that's and
I've heard that.
you don't get the attribution
Mhm.
that you're due. And I mean, isn't that wrong to be blunt about it, but dangerous in a way
Sure.
because you really don't know where the stuff is coming from and how many people just take their AI results as the gospel as all right, this is it, and then they use it for different purposes.
That's the problem. Yeah, that
Yeah,
is the problem. Is a lot of people are doing things based on AI results that maybe they shouldn't, or
yeah,
that sort of thing. And I think that's a bigger societal issue. I wish I could,
yeah,
um, do something in that manner. But um, I mean, I think what all we can do is continue to put out great content, and
Yes.
continue to work together. So from that perspective, I'm okay. But I also have a few friends that are in the music industry, and use of AI music
Oh,
has
yeah.
really changed a lot of things as well. It does should music that's created by AI, um,
Yeah.
is it able to win a Grammy?
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, those sort of things. There's AI artists out there now, and
Yeah,
you just it's hard to know where to put that in a category.
sure. But I mean, when especially when it comes to music, I mean, people have been using uh what's the I forget the big uh recording software that everybody uses. I forget that. But people,
Yeah,
just
Pro
consumers using
Tools.
Pro Tools, yes,
Yeah,
and even GarageBand, right?
yeah,
And
sure,
they're
that's true.
composing music from stuff that's generated that they didn't
Right.
really compose it, but they're using it as well, I mean, it's like a Betty Crocker mix, right? You didn't bake the cake from scratch. You're using something that they came up with, and it's a
I
starter.
love
So
that.
um,
Yeah.
half of you says, well, what's the harm? But the other half says, is that does it come under uh I'd say plagiarizing? It sounds serious, but that you can't claim ownership of it. So
Yeah, I mean it's
yeah,
interesting. Some of this like synthesized music, people can play that,
yeah,
and they have to come up with their own beats or their own, rhythms and that sort of
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
But when you just give it a prompt and it builds it, should you be making money off of that? And I mean,
yes,
there's a lot to it, and I don't have the answer necessarily for that either. But I
yeah,
think one of the things that I'm hearing on that side too is just people are craving that authenticity. So
right,
even though it is AI generated, it's like, oh, we want to find the real musicians. Some people really care about that, some
yeah,
don't, and so I
yeah,
think it's very similar from a writing perspective. And I will tell you that, I understand you from a journalist standpoint, you would never
yes,
take like the AI previews.
right,
Uh, so many people do,
yeah,
so many people do. I've told
yes,
people, even friends of mine, like, hey, don't
hmm,
click on those sponsored links at the top of,
yeah,
Google. Just scroll
yeah,
down past the first three, and then you'll find the
yes,
actual list,
yes.
and they don't care. And so I'm like, okay, it's
Yeah, well, you can get into this whole discussion. I mean, accuracy
yeah,
today is so suspect. I hate to say
I
it.
hear
I
you.
mean, it's so suspect.
Yeah,
And AI, no, I have to admit, it's a wonderful tool. I've used it if I get stuck and I just need something to get me off the starting line. I
I
won't
hear you.
use the result, but it will give me enough of a jolt in my brain to go, okay, now I can think of it
Yeah,
in a different way. And I love that. It's great to
yeah.
have that help.
It's good to
Especially,
embrace it for sure in those
yeah.
ways. Yeah.
Yes, but to totally rely on it, and it's funny. I was at this presentation a few weeks ago at Monroe and Associates, the engineering firm. There was a panel on
Okay.
humanoid robots, right? And they used, of
Yeah.
course, AI is a big part of that. And it was an intern, a very wise intern from Kettering University, who said, "You know, I've learned that AI is just the tool. It's not the thing that you're building." And I
Right.
thought it was a great statement to say, yeah, that's how you have to think of it, is use it as a tool, but don't just say, okay, now I'm done.
Mm.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. I hear
Um,
you. That's
so
really smart. That's a good insight.
he was is a pretty wise intern and a reflection of that university, which is a wonderful university. Um, but just to get back to your the press hustle and how you're helping people and
Right.
integrating AI. I mean, I'm just so interested in that. Is Don, how you're sort of advising people in that manner to say, okay, yes, you need AI and you have to play with AI, and this is the world we're in now. But what would be your sort of sage advices?
Hmm.
Say, okay, how do I use it? I'm new. How do I use it? What would you say is the most effective and prudent way to use it for people looking for coverage?
Yeah, I think, one of the reasons why I wanted to build it is because I think some people need to exercise a little bit more caution.
Mhm.
I love AI for so many things. I use ChatGPT and Claude for various things and supporting
Yeah.
research and whatnot to keep me moving at a quick pace, just like so many people do.
Mhm.
Um, but I think in terms of, launching your company or, it could be so many different things. People just, like you said, rely on it so heavily. And
Mhm.
so sometimes one single prompt would give somebody an entire year's worth of work, where it
Yeah.
says,
Right.
okay, because you could ask right now, you could say, give me 365, LinkedIn posts, and hey, I did it in one day. I'm gonna schedule them all out. I never have to think about it again for another year.
Yeah.
People can do that, but relying on that is, I think, can be kind of dangerous. And so I've
Sure.
seen people, plan their whole launch plans, not ask it any questions, and just
Mhm.
blindly follow it. And I feel like one of the things with Press Hustle is just let's embrace it. Let's use some of the things that I've learned over the last 20 years from public relations. Let's
Yeah.
bring those things together
Yes.
and make something even better. And so I know that, I don't necessarily need to have, you know, create my own AI sort of in a bubble, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
We're using platforms underneath it, and that I have to get all those details from the developer on exactly which ones we're using. But
Yeah.
um, it's making sure the prompts are right, making sure that they fill out their profile fully. There's certain safeguards within the system, so
Yeah.
it's going to pull exactly from their profile based on tone, based on what the company is, the industry that they're in,
Yes.
um, and that sort of thing. So it's going to feel more put together than just the average um, prompts, if
Yeah.
if you will.
All right. So can people sign up for Press Hustle now, or when does it officially launch?
They can't officially sign up yet, but they can, if they go to my website, mcleanmedia.com,
Okay.
MCLEAN
We'll put it on the
media.com.
screen. Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
There's a tech page, and if they click on that, they can put in their email address and be updated when the system is ready to accept beta users. And it's going to be a launch in Q3. So
Okay.
we're in Q3 right now. We're not that far out.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that, and yeah, it'll be here before we know it. So I hope
That's
to have
great.
some good case studies and things to share with
Yeah.
you next time around.
All right. Well, we'll have to have you back to talk about it once it gets going because I think it's fast. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you, Ed.
And from a small time guy, semi-retired, thank you for doing that because we need all the tools we can get.
Oh,
But Don
good.
McLean, thank you so much for coming back on Tales from the Beat. Always wise insight and information from you. Busiest guy in show business. I think the sort of the Ryan Seacrest of PR and marketing. Yeah, I think, but
Hey, thank
no,
you for that.
that's great. No, that's great. Your book was great. I saw that, read that. And say the name of the book again in case people don't know it. The
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
it's called The In Crowd for LinkedIn Mastery, and it's
Yeah.
available on Amazon.com.
All right, Don McLean, thank you so much. And thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Tales from the Beat. I hope you'll subscribe, comment, share, do all the stuff you're supposed to do with podcasts. I'm Ed Garsten. I'll see you soon with more tales. Take care.